Hey everybody, Brian King here. I want to talk about what it means to be a man. This is a conversation that showed up in one of the groups that I belong to on Facebook. And it got me thinking because there are a lot of guys in that group and a lot of guys in general who are really pushing this idea that manliness comes from doing triathlons, lifting the most weight, running marathons, having a perfect six-pack, abs and everything. And they do push-up challenges and all this stuff, and this is being manly. And I imagine that that's one way to be a man, and I absolutely respect the amount of dedication it takes to build your body up, refine it, the discipline that it takes. But I don't like the message it sends. The message that manliness is physical. That you show up physically in a certain way, you have a certain amount of physical strength, and that's what it means to be a man. See, my body has not been cooperative my entire life. I tried track in high school. The shin splints were so crippling I couldn't continue. That was also when I was having the beginnings of the Ehlers-Danlos and didn't know about it. When I had the cancer, when I was 18, and I had the cancerous testicle removed, I was questioning whether I was still a man because I didn't have all those parts still. And I had to reconcile that, make peace with it. And I had to look within to define what it meant to be a man for me under those circumstances. And even now, I look to various people that inspire me on what it means to be a man. People like Jack Canfield, best-selling author. People like Gandhi. Some of the more, reflective poets and so on out there. So I have learned to define manliness in a much more diplomatic, much more compassionate way. I'm a Buddhist by practice, and I look to the Buddha, who really has changed my life in terms of how he viewed the world and so forth. But I just want you to think about the messages that are being sent to your sons, to you, about what it means to be a man. Why? Because you have a six-pack, are you more manly than I am? And why are you pushing to say that I need to buy into this, I need to participate in this to be the best man I can be? You follow my thinking here? Yeah, I'm a little on the heavy side. I wasn't always. I'm doing what I can to reduce the amount of weight that I have. But I don't think that by doing so I will be more manly. My manliness is much more heart-centered. It's much more character-driven. It's much more about legacy, because you can't take the muscles with you. There will be a time when your body begins to decline and you can't do that stuff anymore. What then? Are you no longer a man because you're in a wheelchair? Are you no longer a man because you're now too old to run the triathlons like you used to? So what it means to be a man must be broader. You must consider those special things that people are going to remember about you. They're not going to say, oh man, Dad had the biggest six-pack. They're going to remember your character. They're going to remember how time with you made them feel about themselves. So I'm not knocking people who discipline themselves to become physically healthy, physically in shape. What I'm talking about here is considering that as the overall, what do you want to call it, norm of what manliness is, because it's just not helpful. It's a life path if you want to live that way, but it does not make you more or less a man if you choose or do not choose that path. So these are just my thoughts. Hopefully this has been helpful. If there's anybody else, any guy in your life that you think could really use this message, please go ahead and share. This has been Brian. We'll talk again soon.